that's it really. When the holiday was over, he took me back to my father's house, and yeah, he took me himself. I remember getting home and my father joking and saying, you don't want to come back, Abby? You don't want to come back to your house, Abby? And I burst out crying and crying. So yeah, that's how it happened. And I know this is not a strange story to many people, because whether we have a community, a culture that makes women particularly silent, but a lot of women have gone through what I've gone through, but they just haven't spoken about it. But the point of this whole story is to indicate how this affected my life. One of the ways that this affected my life was the fact that I immediately developed a food addiction. If you notice, if you Google it or if you investigate, you find out that a lot of people who have been sexually abused develop addiction. Some people to drugs, some people to alcohol, and some people to food, and some people to all three. I developed a food addiction almost immediately. I remember being on the assembly ground when I came back from school that day, and my principal saying, Mary, we need to probe what you ate during this holiday. Till today, I struggle with an addiction to food. Food I go to for comfort. So if I'm sad, I eat. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm happy, I eat. If I'm whatever, I eat. It's a problem. The other thing that this did to me was that it totally killed my self-esteem, and it made me ashamed. So I never saw myself like other girls. I saw other girls as nice and pure. I'd always see myself as never measuring up. I'd see them as I've never felt comfortable in social situations. And I know a lot of people who know me think this is weird, because I have media training that makes me able to mask it. But I assure you, sitting down there, I always feel inadequate. And this feeling of inadequacy is the kind of feeling that I got into relationships with. First of all, I wasn't even choosing men that liked me. I was choosing men that were unavailable, or men who just wanted to come in and use me and disappear. And that was all my relationships. There's no one that I would say, oh, I had a relationship with a person who actually cared for me. And this was a trajectory that led me to HIV, because I didn't think enough of myself to say to people, oh no, I'm going to protect myself, I'm going to take care of myself when I'm in a relationship with someone. I didn't think enough. It was just more important what he wanted, and if he would not leave me if I gave him what he wanted, you know. And this is one thing that this has done to me. I still battle with self-esteem issues till today. I still battle with shame. I still battle with the feeling that I am not enough for anything. It's been a long, hard battle. The third thing, of course, okay, well, not of course, but the third thing was rage. I felt intense rage. It was manifesting an internal struggle, but anybody knew me say, Mary, she sparks like that. They used to call me chili pepper. Get angry like that, you know. I was battling with rage, and the only time I realized why I was angry was when I was 33 and I had a particularly bitter fight with my brother, and my mom took me to a priest who was a young guy who was a priest, and I didn't want to speak to him, so I don't know how he got this out of me, but at the first few minutes of the meeting, I blurted out that I was angry with my family because I felt like they didn't protect me from abuse. And that's when I realized that I had been carrying this rage in my heart for years. The fourth thing that I think this has done for me, against me, is the way I approach religion and men of God. I don't believe in any man of God. I don't believe there's anything like a man of God. Anybody who thinks that they are called of God, well, good for you. I don't believe you, and you're not going to be able to do anything to make me believe you. You know. Secondly, I don't even believe in organized religion. So if some people are calling people together to come to a church, you're on your own. In fact, you actually get me upset, because I think that we don't even think, use our brains again in Nigeria because of religion. But even beyond that, there's so many people who are deceptive, and I'm always wondering, what is this one doing behind his, after he leaves this pulpit or this altar or whatever? What is he doing? You know, I'm now trying to come to terms with my own notion of who God is, but that will be on my own terms. The thing again that is done to me is the relationship I have with my daughter, and that's a good and bad. I'm overprotective up to the extent of paranoia of my daughter. So there are many things that I won't let her do on her own. There are many things that I will fight other people over because of her, and I will not blink an eye about that. And then I create the passage, the way, the leeway, the opportunity for us to have conversations. So she tells me everything, and I tell her a lot. She's 9, but she knows about sex, although she thinks it's yucky. She knows about HIV. She knows, because, and the reason I do this is because when a person wants to abuse your child, they don't wait until they are old enough. What you can do to defend your child is to ensure that they have the information and they have the knowledge that they can come to you. And that's what I do with my child. She knows what is wrong and what somebody should not say. She talks to me about everything. If I didn't do this, when she was 4 years old, she wouldn't have told me about the domestic help in my parents' house who was trying to abuse her, who tried to stick his finger in her vagina. But she told me about it, and I almost killed the guy. But that's another story for another day. But those are the things that it does to me. I will never take anybody else's side against my child. She needs to know that I'm her safe space. Another thing is, I let her watch a lot of stuff that other people may not let their children watch. And the reason is this: if you have questions, ask me. Don't go and watch it in your friend's house and then come and ask your friend's auntie or your friend's uncle, who will now teach you what you're not supposed to know. Come to my house and come and learn it here. Ask me here, so that I will tell you the truth about the whole situation. And that's another thing, I tell her the truth. She may not be able to understand it the way it is exactly, but at least I tell her what she needs to know. So if she asks what is sex, I will tell her that it is something that adults do to show how much they love each other. If I need to be more graphic, I can tell her that the penis goes into the vagina, and she will be disgusted. But she has gotten the information. It is not for children, it is between people who love each other. So another thing that this abuse did to me was, it made me worry of my relatives, especially mine. Well, those on my father's side, those on my mother's side, whatever. I'm not one that you can tie down with we're related or we have the same surname, or if I don't know you personally, you know, because to be honest, this man, this reverend father, this grand uncle, this 52-year-old man who sexually abused me was just one of many. He tried, he succeeded, but there were many who tried. There were several, I beg your pardon, who tried. Batman, that is my father's oddly, tried. People who tried to stick their fingers in your vagina, my uncles, my father's friends, who were in Benin, you know, so on and so forth. So, I'm very wary of relatives, and I don't get close to them. And if I get close to you and I see any misbehavior, I cut you off. You know, I'm not prescribing what people should do, or rather, you know, or dictating what people should do. I'm just telling how these things have affected me. So I've taken stock of my life, and especially in the last few months, because I found out that some things were recurring, you know, some situations which just kept happening. I also found out that in my 30s I lost a lot of time, you know, and I just needed to sort myself out. There were so many things wrong, and this is when I went back to this abuse and realized that that was the root of my problems. So now I'm not tolerant of people who don't understand that child abuse, child sexual abuse is a big deal. You know, because a lot of people just think, oh, okay, the guy was wrong to have done that, so let us get over it and let's find a way to punish him, or let's warn him, or whatever. It's not that simple. It's not that simple, and it shouldn't be that simple. That a person can mess up somebody's life, a child's life, can never be that easy. What were you thinking? What are you thinking? You understand? It's also very important too that parents believe their children. So the reason why I'm speaking up, apart from the fact that I really need to get this done in my life, I cannot continue to be pulled back by this same issue. It's also because as a mother, I do not want my daughter and her peers to continue to be exposed to these kind of issues. In my case, this thing finally built up into contracting an HIV infection. It could be different for people. People could get killed just because some bastard in their youth messed them up. You know what I mean? So I think that our voices are necessary. Sexual abuse is so common in our society. So common. And it's such a killer, it's such a terrible thing to happen to someone. But we just don't take it seriously because it's a woman. You know, or maybe not even because it's a woman, because when it happens to a guy, they always laugh. You know, we don't know how damaged a person can be from that. There's so many people walking in Nigeria now, just walking around, who have serious mental health issues just because of something that happened in their youth. You know, we need to address that. We need to lift our voices, and this is one voice, you know, talking about it. It's hard, it's difficult, but it needs to be done. It's also important for our healing, for those of us who have been through it. It's important for our healing, so that when we speak about it, then we can be free of it, and we can know that, you know, this has never been our fault. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. The transcription is down in the description box. Yeah, so there's a link to it there if you want to read, because it's more detailed than the one that I'm speaking about. It's been a heavy day, so I just want to thank you for watching, and yeah, another milestone will come in another episode. Thanks. Bye.